Good morning, this is James Harrison presenting his course for the Week 2 Coursera Introduction to Music Production. I have chosen my lesson today on showing one method to perfect the timing of an imperfect performance. Started a Reaper project and dragged in my audio from last week, which had some issues. I am going to show you how to manipulate this data. First thing we're going to do is be able to zoom in and zoom out. The waveform display here is very small vertically, so I'm going to move over the tracks area and control mouse wheel, and that scrolls it vertically. I can also increase the size of the individual waveforms by holding the shift key and using the up and down arrows to make sure that if the audio was recorded too quietly, that you could still see it. I'm going to start by clicking on here, and you can see that everywhere I click it lines up to an actual beat at 120 beats per minute. That's because the grid is turned on. If I turn the grid off, I can now drag the audio and move it left or right by small amounts, and I can zoom in and make sure that I can get the first downbeat right on that beat bar. If I wanted to apply a fade in to avoid any pops or clicks at the beginning, you simply mouse over the top left corner, and that's a fade in. I can now turn the grid back on and see what my audio looks like. In here, if I press play, this peak right here is my next audio downbeat. So I'm going to have to turn off my grid. I'm going to have to click on here, use the S key to perform another split. I'm going to turn the grid back on and move that to the beginning of the bar. Now this little audio gap here is left over when that happens. So what I can do is I can bring it over so that you get the move the right hand side thing, hold the Alt key, and that puts it into a time stretch mode, which I can now stretch it back to the grid. And if I zoom right in on this, you can see that it has actually lined up the end of the left hand side with the beginning of the right hand side down to a sample accurate sync. This is called elastic audio. Reaper does this very, very well. Turn off the grid, get myself in on that next downbeat, and here, if I select a peak off 0, I can hit the Z key and it will move to a 0 crossing. Then I can split on the 0 crossing, and I can move this back to turn on the grid. Here, because they're joined up, I can hit the Alt key and it will time stretch both halves. It time stretched it in the wrong direction, so I need to move it all the way to the beginning of the next downbeat. So back to the beginning here. There was a little bit of an audio glitch here. So what I'm going to do now is take the right hand side and I'm going to turn off the grid and perform a crossfade across that gap, preferably ending on a 0 crossing. Now what this does is it crossfades, but it crossfades where there's a minimal amount of impact. Alrighty. Now, finding the next downbeat, same thing, little bit of an audio glitch. Even though I did it at a 0 crossing, I'm still going to choose to apply a small crossfade. And repeat this process. Z, S, Alt, stretch that beat. To the downbeat, turn the grid on, make sure it's actually stretching to the downbeat. Now, I should be able to listen to the whole thing with the click on, and it should be pretty much lined up.